I got all eyes on me like Pac did, but I ain't trying to go broke like Joc did.
If I go broke like Joc, fuck that dog like Vic.
It's going down.
Jahziel Amon Robinson, aka Young Joc, born September 20th, 1980. Today's feature is an artist that had one of the biggest songs of the 2000s that had everyone doing the motorcycle dance that made its way to the top of almost every chart and sold over 3 million copies, going triple platinum. Besides that, his first album also had success, going gold in just 2 months, and in 5 months' time was certified platinum by the RIAA. Young Joc was everywhere, either performing this song or you could hear it all over the radio and countdown shows on television back before Instagram and social media became the new TV. The song was indeed infectious and made a star out of Young Joc, even to his surprise when he first saw the reaction and its own life the song had taken on. Even the famous dance for the song came about as organic as you could hope for as a musician. Young Joc describes first seeing the dance after a DJ urged him to come to the club and see the new moves the streets had made for his song. Knowing in that time having a dance for your song, especially being from Atlanta, meant you had the final infinity stone of an undeniable hit record. Joc was amazed. The Joc dance has to go down as one of the most well-known in hip-hop history. Behind that one album, Joc was all over the country and a household name in the black community, even named to the Forbes list in 2006 for grossing over $10 million that year, landing at number 20 for highest earning rappers. Praise and recognition, Joc says, was the worst thing to ever happen to him, mainly because it changed how everyone viewed him, even close friends and family. Now, instead of asking for and being happy with a $1,000 loan, they felt entitled to getting $10,000. Instead of a ride, they now ask for their own car and things of that nature. This shows you how hot an artist like Young Joc was and how quickly an artist could blow up in those times. Almost like what you see happening today with the help of YouTube and social media. Just as fast as the music business moves today for artists like Young Joc, it moved even faster back then for artists specializing in one area, that is, making radio hits and dance moves, but no real soul to the music that could extend its lifespan. By the end of the decade, Joc became one of the tales of misfortune and mismanagement you hear about that happens far too often in the music industry, and the target of old and new rappers ever since for his alleged fall off. I got all eyes on me like Pac did, but I ain't trying to go broke like Joc did. Gucci Man, 2012. Before I go broke like Joc, mess with that dog like Vic, 42 Doug, 2020. Although I'm sure he's doing fine financially, here are 3 reasons Young Joc fell off as a rapper. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. You can also send a super thanks by clicking the button below. Enjoy the video. Young Joc had the musical beginnings you hear often of trials and tribulations, failure, competition, unsureness, and even questioning his path of choice at one point. But he kept going because he knew music was what he wanted to do. He first had that itch after, with the help of his father and his beauty supply store, secured a deal with Revlon to write their jingle. After seeing a check with his name on it, Joc from then on was focused on using rap to get him out the hood. He got with Nitty Beats, one of the hottest upcoming producers in Georgia, and made the song It's Going Down. While trying to get more beats from a different local producer he respected named Carl Mo, he played It's Going Down for Mo, and that's the beginning of history. Carl Mo, impressed with the song, linked Joc with Block Enterprise, who was linked to Diddy, having brought Diddy Boys in the Hood. Block heard the song, got to see Joc perform for the first time and the reaction to the song, and signed him to his label, who then signed Joc over to P. Diddy for supposedly $15 million. Now signed to the label of his dreams, It's Going Down video was shot and Young Joc was finally in the game. Stunt number 1, fallouts with his labels. Like mentioned, Joc's story is all too typical in his rise and his fall musically. Hooks up with local producers, producers make a song hot, streets provide a dance move to the song, major artist ran label picks up the artist for use of his potential hit song, signs him to an unflattering deal, artist sticks around and milks it as long as he can, then falls out with the label when money and promotion dries up because the song isn't hot anymore, and leaves the label disgruntled and feeling wronged by everybody but himself. Give or take, that's basically what happened to Young Joc. First of all, he was signed to way too many people in the first place, but I understand it because that's what had to be done in order for him to get to a place he could eventually even be featured by Forbes magazine. But so much within his deal with Block Enterprise and Bad Boy Records wasn't clear to Joc when he signed that it caused problems later on and at the worst time. After going platinum on his debut album, Joc should have been priority number 1 for Bad Boy and Block as a label. But according to Joc, before working on his all-important sophomore follow-up to his platinum debut, he needed the album advance he assumed came with a new album, especially since he had the cachet of prior album success in his pocket, or so he thought. He was denied, apparently by Block, for the advance, one he needed to help a friend who was just locked up. He already had kids and a family, so wanted to provide for them as well. But the advance never came, and tension began to grow with he and Block. Synergy in the studio became different and it hurt the music. He would put out a second album in 2009 that sold well, but not as good as album 1 before he wound up leaving Block Enterprise and also Bad Boy after an agreement could not be made as far as royalties and publishing. He hasn't put out an official studio album since. Stunt number 2, a dead sound. The thing about the 2000s musically was that it was very profitable, but it moved very quick, seeing as most of the social apps as well as YouTube also got their breaks during that time and helped change the game by the new 2010 decade. The snap sound, poppy dance records being produced from the South were starting to be replaced left and right, and the sound Joc perfected making hits to in itself fell off. So songs like It's Going Down, I Know You See It, and pretty much all of Young Joc's music was starting to become stale and played out over time. Some don't even remember that Young Joc had a few songs chart in his brief run and assume it was only the success of It's Going Down. Still, none of that would matter because the era of music started to change. Kanye West, Drake, Meek Mill, Lil Wayne, to name a few, were becoming the new faces of a new decade, and Atlanta's snap sound was then seen as played. Stunt number 3, soulless music. And lastly, what I think stunted Joc's growth in music was his music never being made or sold to last. Music and artists that usually last the time test have something about them or the music that connects directly to the soul of the listener and is able to be carried and passed on as that listener ages and shares it with the people he meets along his journey. When the music is solely made to make people party and dance, that music will always have a shelf life because the way people party and dance changes every so often. The quicker the change, the greater the fall of the artist. At one point, you couldn't go anywhere there's snap music playing and not see people doing the ATL snap dance, Stanky Leg, Soulja Boy, and others. You look at those dances now and would be embarrassed to do them or even say you did them at some point. The death of that era was the death of a lot of artists, including Young Joc, simply because there was no soul to carry his music. Now there is ways to survive with soulless music, just ask Soulja Boy. But Soulja kept making soulless hits, Joc didn't. All in all, no, Young Joc is not broke, at least I don't think so. He owns multiple businesses and makes new money in different avenues according to him. Musically though, he definitely fell off from where he once was for these 3 reasons mainly. You can now find him as a recurring Love and Hip Hop character or being in the news for something shocking, but as far as his music career, for these reasons, once again, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.